Hello, fellow beings of light, and welcome to episode 5 of the Your Goddess Awakening podcast. I want to take a moment to wish all of you a happy new year and to thank all of you for your patience over the last few weeks. I have been struggling with being sick and my voice going in and out. And this week, has been a struggle as well because my laptop decided to break down last week, and I have most definitely been having some technical difficulties getting my new one set up for recording. I am hoping we are past that now, though, for take 3 of trying to record this episode. Fingers crossed, you guys. This is part 2 in a 12-part series entitled 6 Degrees of Soul Separation. As in, we are all 6 degrees away from ascending to or expanding into our highest light body. Throughout this series, we are delving into my personal journey to accessing, healing, and merging the 6 soul aspects of my own highest light body. Part 1, it was a bit of an introduction. This week, we are going to be getting into our first soul aspect, my first soul aspect, Arya. Now, I'm going to spell that out for you, as it is A-R-E-I-A, not the typical spelling of Arya. And you probably won't get the significance of why I had to point that out to you yet, but I think that it will start to make sense as we make our way through the other soul aspects. Now that we know who we're going to be working with today, let's get into it. What follows is information that has been either shared with me through direct communication and interaction with those discussed or those associated with them, or information that has been received by me during visits to my Akashic Records. Once we have made our way through all that has been shared with and received by me, we will take a trip together into my Akashic Records for the purpose of learning more. I'm not quite sure what that something more will be or how it will be helpful to me and all of you, but I trust that it will be and that it will unfold as it is meant to. Before we dive into my first soul aspect to incarnate onto Earth, I want to get into a little background on how my 6 degrees of soul separation came to happen. It will be relevant when it comes to not only this soul aspect, but to the others as well. My highest light body is an Andromedan child named Leora, a child blessed with unique abilities of perception. For purposes of this background, what is important is her ability to observe and assimilate knowledge, then utilize it to generate not only a new collective knowledge, but to see, to predict potential future outcomes based upon variations of it. When the concept of separating into soul aspects and incarnating onto Earth came into being, members of the Galactic Council traveled amongst the galactic races. They did so to gather information and develop a plan, but they also did so to gather those who might be useful to the process and to the coming experiment. Leora and her abilities were discovered by Isis during this gathering. She was removed from her home, from her family, and taken from race to race to race to spend time with them and to use her abilities to gather the knowledge and probabilities the council needed to move forward with their experiment. Her last stop before returning to Andromeda was the Pleiades. There she formed a deep familial connection with Star Mother Maya and her son Hermes. From them, she learned many new things, the most important being playfulness, individuality, and the knowledge that the coming experiment would offer those incarnating the freedom to choose their own path. When she returned to Andromeda, Leora made a choice. Refusing to be used any further and going against the wishes of both her parents and the Galactic Council, she chose to separate her light body into soul aspects to join and aid in the coming experiment on Earth. She did so with the aid and support of her Andromedan grandmother, Glora, with Maya and even Isis. Which brings us back to the first soul aspect of my highest light body to separate and incarnate onto Earth, Arya. The first wave of our Earth experiment, or rather experience, because I like to think of it as an experience, even though experiment is the phrase that I get from members of my team all the time. It consisted of soul aspects with differing levels of forgetting, as well as fully remembering higher light bodies that we would most likely recognize as gods and goddesses in terms of history today. It was like a practice run with the varying levels of remembrance intended to allow for the experience of contrast and to aid in the collective remembrance of all. If you know the stories of Atlantis, Lemuria, etc., you probably have a good idea of how that first wave went. So I won't be getting into that here. Instead, our focus will be on Arya and her time on Earth. From what I have received from our Andromedan grandmother, it is clear that Arya incarnated with full remembrance of Leora's abilities and the knowledge that Leora had gathered during her time amongst the various races. She did not, however, have Leora's memories of her family, of her home galaxy, or any of the actual places she had spent time, or the light beings she had spent time with. Her origin point was the Pleiades, and her aspect was gifted, infused with pieces of both Maya and Isis at the time of separation. This origin led to a lot of confusion for me as I was beginning my own journey, because I would have sworn up and down that my origin point was the Pleiades when I first opened up to light work and to light language. That bit of misdirection that allowed Leora to evade her parents and the council so that she could separate also became quite a bit of misdirection for me. I figured it out eventually, though, but they did a really good job with it. I'll just say that. Now, I say origin point because unlike those with further levels of forgetting who incarnated directly into bodies on Earth, Arya was part of a collective of healers made up of soul aspects derived from light bodies of various races who were incarnated into physical bodies that weren't entirely human, but also not entirely their origin races either, prior to the journey to Earth. Their role, her role, was to aid those with further levels of forgetting through the remembrance and reawakening process, to use their remembered abilities and knowledge to do so, to act as guides. And in furtherance of that, they separated and incarnated early, gaining knowledge and receiving training in the Pleiades prior to the first wave beginning and being sent to Earth. Aira, like Leora, mentored underneath Maya, who became like a mother to her, and spent her free time with her son, Hermes, who became like a brother to her. Here is a little something in Aira's own words, channeled through automatic writing during a visit to my Akashic records. Maya was my mentor. I had her knowledge, her power, her abilities, just as the other aspects who joined me in the collective gained those of whom they mentored under. I was always different from them, though, before Earth and on it. They were always so serious, and I had more childlike hope and curiosity, bravery and adventure, masculine added to my feminine. Side note here, Andromedans are actually androgynous when it comes to traits. So it makes sense that she identified as having both masculine and feminine traits. I did not inherit these traits fully or at all from Maya, but rather from her son, Hermes, my best friend. He would join me during my independent studies, be the light to my Sirius, a reminder to take a break, to not fall down rabbit holes, to ground and anchor into the present moment as well, not just in the future and the success of the mission we have been given. Now, this is the point where my knowledge and channeling of this part of my timeline shifts from Aira as an individual to the collective with which she was a part of. They, as a whole, have been communicating with me from early on in my journey, far before Arya even entered the picture. They often provide knowledge, soothing and healing knowledge that comes in the context of issues that are triggering for me in one way or another. I always felt a connection with them, but wasn't aware of what it was until I began uncovering my own soul aspects. I'm very much looking forward to exploring more of my time with them beyond the collective viewpoint I have received. This collective of healers is known to me as Alren. I believe there were similar healing collectives sent to each of the Earth locations utilized during the first wave, all known as Alren. They all had remembrance of their knowledge and abilities, of their general galactic origin point, and more importantly, of the part of the mission where those who had forgotten those things needed their help in remembering it. In their own words, channeled through automatic writing once again, Ren is the reawakening, the rebirth. We call you and those like you Evren, the start, the eve, the moment before the reawakening, the rebirth. It is where you are at in your journey. Evren. We call ourselves Allren, the collective, all that remember, all that are awakened. Those who wait at the center where all is one for Evren to rejoin, to reclaim their place, their wholeness, their oneness. We are those that aid in the cleansing, the healing, the remembering, the reawakening, and the rebirth of Evren when they are ready. Aira and this particular Allren collective were sent from the Pleiades to Atlantis. Something that probably helps to explain my strong connection with water. From my time with her in the Akashic Records, I've received bits and pieces, moments spent there with the collective, with Isis and with Hermes, who I have come to know has been sent along with each of my soul aspects by Maya as a gift. He has been my guide with each and every one. I have struggled with accessing memories and channeling information regarding the actual work that was done by the collective, beyond there being feelings of being different and some division between Arya and the rest of the collective. The full extent of that division was something I uncovered when specifically seeking out messages from my team of guides that would help me in letting go of what I still needed to and in moving forward in my journey. The collective Auren came forth with this message. You were always the one. We doubted you, poked fun at your hope, your optimism, your unwavering belief in our mission and those we were sent to guide. We did not take it seriously. We did not think it would work, did not believe that it could, not like you did. We thought we were better than them and let that hinder us in helping raise them. And so we failed as a group, as a collective. But it was because of us, not because of you. You have the ability to succeed where we failed. You always have. You do, and you always will. We may not have believed in the experiment, in those we were meant to guide, in you then, but we do now. We stand by your side now, supporting you in your mission now, as we should have then. I won't get into my thoughts on why Atlantis and the other locations of the first wave failed. I don't think it's necessary. All I will say is when you place people with vast differences together, especially with one or more groups having a vast advantage over the others, it's bound to result in division instead of unity. Perhaps that is why all of the waves of the experiment that have followed have contained only soul aspects that have forgotten who and what they are fully. Who knows? Just something to ponder. What I do know, I think we have a pretty good overview of what I've learned about Aira and the Allren Collective she was a part of. There is probably far more that I could share that I've learned from both, but that is for other times, not today. For now, let's jump into my Akashic records for the purpose of connecting with Aira and see what more we can learn or what she might have to share with me or all of you at this particular point in our journey here on Earth. Now, I will say this is my first time doing something like this as part of a recording, so bear with me. I'm going to walk all of us into the records together. There may be pauses as things are accessed. There may be light language, and honestly, there is a chance that someone or something different may come through for you in the moments of silence and receiving, or even in the moments I am sharing something with you. Whatever comes through, for me or for you or for all of us as one, merely be open to receiving it, to taking in and considering what resonates, and to letting go of what does not. Now, settle into a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down, with your hands facing palms up on your lap or at your side, and begin breathing slowly and deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Good. Now, close your eyes and focus on your breathing, letting go of any thoughts or emotions that may be floating around in your head. I want you to go ahead and take 3 more slow and deep breaths. And with each inhale, I want you to think to yourself, opening to receive. And with each exhale, I want you to think to yourself, letting go of distractions. Opening to receive. Letting go of distractions. Opening to receive. Letting go of distractions. Opening to receive. Letting go of distractions. As you continue breathing, I am going to take a moment to connect in with your energy field and with my Akashic records. Now, even though I want your eyes to remain physically closed, I want you to open your mind's eye and see yourself standing with me before a massive tree. And the more that you focus on it, you start to see lights hanging from the branches and windows and a large door directly in front of us at the top of a few rustic wooden stairs. This is how my Akashic Records comes to me, as a tree of wisdom, as a tree of knowledge. As you take it all in, feel me taking your hand gently and slowly beginning to lead you up to the tree. Up the stairs, 1, 2, 3, and stopping in front of the now open doorway, where we see not one, but 2 guides standing to each side of it. To the right is my guide in many things, including my Akashic Records, and you shouldn't be surprised to see him here, as I've already mentioned him several times in this episode. He is Hermes. He's got his curly blonde hair there and his young looking self. Oh boy. Don't laugh if you hear him calling me princess in your mind. He knows how much I hate that. He is standing to the right side of the door, and on the left side is another guide. This is your guide, either to your own Akashic Records or to your inner truth. I personally have 2 guides that enter my records with me, Hermes and my Truth and Water guide. We will call him Hades. If you are unable to see a guide of your own, feel free to picture him. He doesn't mind being looked at. He actually does. He's a little shy and a little reserved, but he's okay. And believe me, he is not as scary as the name I gave him might imply. He is very gentle and very good at helping you work through your truths. Now, both guides are holding the doors open for us, allowing us to step through and into this massive main hall, a circular room with books and the occasional doorway surrounding the walls, and a step down into a cozy area with a central fire pit that's surrounded by some desks and some seating. Taking your hand once again, I lead you over to a daybed covered in warm blankets and pillows and invite you to sit down beside me. I'm going to go with cross-legged. That's kind of my general meditation kind of stance, but it's also for receiving my records. From this moment forward, you will be a casual observer of what unfolds next, as well as a potential receiver of anything that comes through or forward that might be meant for you specifically. Some more slow and deep breaths. I call forth the records of my highest soul aspects. I wish to access them now. These particular records appear to me as a floating glass box of books each one a different color and containing a different light code. Today, I call forth the record of Arya, the pink book containing her unique piece of light code. Arishana makadikaris kanakadikaris muskanakati karaskan mukati. I'm being nudged a little interruption that all of the soul aspects would like me to try to somehow include their individual light codes on the cover image for the episodes. So apparently I'm going to try to figure out how to go about doing that. But that is for after we are done with recording. So let's get back to where we were at. I call forth the records of Arya. The rest of you can wait for another time. Arya, please come forward and share with me, with us, that which you think will aid in my journey most at this moment in time, or in the months and years to come, or that you think will aid in all of our journeys in this moment, or in the months and years to come. Please come forward. Join us. Share with us. Arisha mukarish karakadish kananititi hurus kanakati. She is here, and she has a message. Messages. Stop trying so hard. Stop thinking that you need to struggle. Let go of the need to be in control of this session, of your schedule, of what you are producing, of everything. You are so focused on the outcome, the big picture, that you are missing out on the journey. You are missing out on the moments of rest, of playfulness, of being open and receiving merely for the purpose of being open and receiving. Not just to help others or to put together this video or that video or that video, but for you, for yourself. Let the hope and curiosity within you be your guide. Know that your strength, your resilience habits, and your team will always be there to catch you, will always be there to make sure that what needs to be done will be done when it is meant to be, not when you think it needs to be. Don't lose the internal peace, the freedom, the self-love and connection you have worked so hard to reclaim. Don't let those things get lost once again, caught up in old habits and narratives, swept away. You have learned better. You have done better. Do better. Arishana mushna kati tutututi aramaskana kati snana arashla lamukariskana katena. That is not the message that I have for you. It was merely a nudge to get you back on the right path. The message that I have for you, the knowledge that I must share with you, is much deeper. It is not easy for me to share, but it must be shared. Embrace what makes you unique, what makes you different from others. Embrace your abilities. See all of it for what it truly is. Your gift to the universe, to the mission you are all undertaking, to others. Do not let the perceptions and judgment of some make you lose sight of that. Do not make the same mistake that I did, or rather, do not continue to make the same mistake that I did. Do not allow those perceptions and judgment to become your own. Do not turn them against yourself any longer. Do not hide who or what you are from yourself or others. Do not deny yourself your call to heal, or deny them the healing that you can offer them along their journey. Do not allow your differences, your abilities to isolate you. Continue along the path you have started. Continue to surround yourself with those who are already on the same journey. Those who share similar abilities. Those who share in your mission, so that they may lift you up and prepare you for the difficult task of facing those who do not. I was unable to do these things. I failed myself. I failed others. I failed in my mission. Worse, I allowed a wound at our core to widen, to deepen, instead of aiding it to close. I am the reason our abilities were forgotten in the aspects that followed in a line after me until there was you. Myself, our highest light body. We had thought that we were helping them, protecting them by making it harder for them to remember who and what they were, by making it harder for them to remember the vast knowledge and abilities they possess. By making them less different. We were not alone in this thinking. Each aspect that followed added to that which they wanted the next to forget. What we wanted to run away from. What we wanted to avoid facing instead of healing. We were wrong. We were all wrong. And we have sought to rectify that with you. Our sixth and final aspect. Our sixth and final chance. We have chosen and agreed to throw you in to the deep end of every wound that we have been running from, that we have been avoiding. We have intentionally caused you to be put through so much. I am sorry for that. We are sorry for that. But we are also not sorry for these wounds that we have carried from before we even came into existence. Wounds that began in an innocent child of light and love. And these wounds that we have added upon, they must be healed. They must not be allowed to continue on or forward. And we know that you are the one that can do so. You are the strongest of us all. And deep down, you know it. You are the most powerful of us all. And deep down, you know it. You are the most resilient of us all. And deep down, you know it. So much was thrown at you, so much that has broken others, but you have taken it and you have risen above. You are the wholest of us all because you have access to each and every one of us, our experiences and our knowledge. Each aspect that has come before you and Leora, we all stand beside you and freely give it to you. You know more than each that has come before you. You have access to more than each that has come before you. And you have taken all the wounds that were thrown at us and more, and are still standing here. You are not running. You are not avoiding. You are facing. You are healing. You have everything and anything you might ever need to overcome the obstacles we have put in your way, just like everyone else out there does. And you also have so much more, because like Liora, like us, you are more unique than others. You are different. You are meant for things far greater than you've even begun to imagine and to see. You need only seek it out. You need only ask for it. You need only be open to it. You need only receive it. We believe in you. Whew. Okay. That was a lot. Our time in the Akashic Records has come to a close. I want you to go ahead and close your mind's eye again. Return to a pace of slow and deep breathing as I say goodbye to Arya as I put her record away. Thank you for all that you have shared. Until next time. Brave one. Now feel me gently taking your hand and leading you back to the doorway, out of the tree, back down the steps. 3, 2, 1. And as we make our way down the path leading away from my records, feel yourself returning to your surroundings. As you do so, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes a bit. And when you are ready, open your eyes and have a drink of water, snuggle up with your blanket, whatever feels comfortable and right for you. Thank you for joining me today for the journey into my Akashic Records and for this episode. It definitely packed more of an emotional punch than I was counting on. But I definitely learned some new things. I hope that you were able to get something useful as well, in terms of the soul separation and healing journey itself, or from the information and message received, or in your own little journey if you went off your own way. Don't feel bad if that happened. I often am in meditations with others and go off on my own little adventure, so that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You always get what you were meant to get out of an experience, so never feel bad about that. And before we close, I'm being guided to have you reflect upon the possibility that many of our highest light bodies and prior soul aspects have made choices that could be similar to my own to forget more along the way when the mission was meant to be remembering. And before I close this episode, I'm being guided to have you reflect upon the possibility that many of our highest light bodies and prior soul aspects may very well have made choices similar to my own to forget more along the line when the mission was meant to be remembering, to lay the monumental task of healing the wounds created by those kind of choices down the line. Perhaps on you, like my own are indicating that they have on me. There's going to be a lot to process and unpack after this one. Join us for next Monday's episode, which will cover a discussion of our third and final A, attachment. Then again on Monday the 13th for part 3 of this series, which will delve into yet another soul aspect. Arishka Mukuti.